Hey, it's John McBride, RMUS. We're sitting here with...
Angad from Pix4D.
And what do you do, Angad?
I'm a business development executive, which is a fancy title that basically means my job is responsible for teaching people how this stuff works and informing the market and ensuring that they're getting the right advice. I manage the public safety portfolio for North America.
Excellent.
I focus a lot on Pix4Dreact, which is the product which this tutorial is being based on today. And yeah.
Yeah, so I've definitely seen a lot of different things that you've done out there in the market, trying to get people to understand Pix4D and Mapper as far as that big processing system, if you will.
Yeah.
It's a good, very powerful tool that's been in the market for a while, but now we've released this new program, React.
Yeah.
And so what are some of the things that are kind of specialized about React?
So Pix4D Mapper is our flagship solution. It's a robust scientific software that can take images from any camera, whether it be a cell phone or a drone or an airplane camera, and turn them into 3D models and maps. It makes very precise data, accurate data, but it also takes a long time to process. You need a powerful computer. There's a lot of math, a lot of computation, and quite frankly, there's a lot of menus and a lot of buttons.
Sure.
And so what we did was we went to the public safety market. We went to our super users out there and we said, what are the limitations? What is stopping public safety from getting a tool that they can use every day, that everybody in every department can get access to and get a tremendous amount of value add? And so we built Pix4Dreact. Pix4Dreact is lightweight software, meaning it doesn't need a powerful computer. The computer we have here is not very good at all.
Right.
And that's what we're going to use to show the processing, because we want to demonstrate that you don't need a powerful computer. You don't have to buy an expensive computer. This will work on the machines that a police department or an individual already has.
Sure.
This is a low-cost, affordable solution. It's one of the fastest, if not the fastest, commercially available photogrammetry algorithm that's ever been produced. And basically what that means is it takes all of the images and it compiles them together. Imagine that you had 1,000 images of a property and you wanted to make one large map and you're cutting up all of the little pieces. It's kind of like creating a puzzle. Well, photogrammetry is taking all of those images, stitching them together, essentially solving the puzzle and creating a map. And it's creating a map that you can make accurate distance and measurements and essentially produce something that you can look at and say, hey, this is exactly what that property looks like from the top down.
Sure.
And now I know precisely the layout of the scene.
So overall, you would say, obviously with a low-powered computer, doing very little image processing as far as your accuracy is like what most people are going to get hung up on.
Yes.
So how accurate? So would you say that this would be suitable for surveyor, or is that just better to do, understanding that this program was really made for quick and down and dirty, 2D orthos?
It's for 2D orthos, but I want to be careful with the term dirty because quite frankly, they're very, very good orthos.
Very much.
The accuracy is going to depend directly on how accurate the GPS on the drone is, but in one of these examples, the example that we did today, we did this whole workflow. We went out there, we flew. We're going to show that all to you. I have a 20-foot yellow tape down in the scene, and we're going to measure it, and we're going to see that, yes, it says 20 feet.
Yeah.
And I think that's important to know, is that the accuracy, unlike Pix4D Mapper, where you can achieve centimeter level accuracy, with Pix4Dreact, it's going to be within a couple inches.
Yeah. Well, so overall, we're able to take a very quick deployable system, M2E, pair to NAFI, NAFI thermal. We can do a lot of neat stuff just because we can get out there quickly. We can have a ready to deploy system, computer with the processing ready to go, and spit out information that is very important for both scene, active stuff that's going on, whatever it is that we're doing. So let's go ahead and head out and do an actual map. We'll kind of walk through that and show everybody how to set that up and some of the recommendations of doing so.
For sure.
All right, Angad. All right, we're pretty much got done doing our flight mission. I have a bunch of data here coming off our NAFI, and you had said originally that this shouldn't be too bad as far as collecting this data, getting the data and dumping it into our computer here. I mean, we do have not a very strong computer that we have picked.
Yeah, no, it's going to work.
Yeah. So let me see if I can even get my SD card out of here. Come on, SD card. And why don't we pull that information right there, go ahead and dump it in. And let's just do a walkthrough real quick of what you will be seeing as a live processing of such small information as far as, you know, at least this data set that we did.
So just so our viewers know out there, all I did was I have this micro SD, the USB connected to a micro SD card reader, and this is that micro SD card that we just took out of the Paradanafi. And of course, with some of the DJI units, you don't even have to take out the SD card. You can just attach a wire directly from the drone to the computer. It's very important to always ensure that you're putting the images from the SD card onto the computer itself. And the reason for that is, you know the saying that, you know, it's only as strong as the weakest link? Well, the weakest link is the speed of the USB from here. And that's not very fast. And so when the software is processing this data, it's always best to ensure that the imagery is on the computer itself.
Did you know, this is just FYI, as you're getting to this point, that you can also do a wired connection right off the Anafi?
Oh, my apologies.
So right
I
on the
misspoke
back
there.
side, right on the back side, you can actually set up a USB to pull a cord right off of there, so you don't have to try to get in there.
I think I'm so used to taking the SD card out that I didn't even realize
that is one of those quick things that you could do while you're out there in the field and not having to do this in the dark. So a really good benefit of the Anafi Thermal is actually doing that.
So we've taken the images off the SD card, we've put them onto the desktop of the machine, and I do want to say that we took out the SD card from the Paradanafi, and we will show you data from the Anafi, but for the purposes of this video, we're going to be showing the M2E, the Mavic 2 Enterprise. The reason being, it's one of the most popular drones that public safety across North America and the world actually uses right now. The Anafi is doing really well in the market. We're seeing a lot more market share. It's got an amazing camera, 21 megapixels, and takes really cool photos. It is a great value add. Nobody can say it's not.
Sure.
But very simply, so many of our client base already has this unit that we're going to show it. And something else that you may be intrigued with is a lot of times, one of the questions I get a lot is, hey, Pix4D, so we have to use Pix4D's flight app, Pix4Dreact, which is a free flight application that works with the majority of DJI, Parrot, and a few other drones out there. And it's basically a free flight app available for Android or iOS that you can go ahead and do mapping missions on. But we're doing something a little different for this video because a lot of public safety also uses this.
Sure. And or the Crystal Sky.
Or the Crystal Sky. And John, can you run Pix4Dreact on a Crystal Sky?
Cannot.
Well, technically you can. It just doesn't work very good.
I'll say I have hacked one to make it work, but that's not the best way to do it.
And you can run Pix4Dreact off this, but the thing is, and we're really honest about this, because it's a DJI controller, the DJI app works better.
So we did do our data capture today on the two different machines, and both we used basically the Pilot app to do the mission.
So we used DJI Pilot, and you saw that in the video when we were outside flying, and the way that the mission was set up, etc. And that's very simply to prove the point that it doesn't matter what application you're using to fly your grid missions, as long as the images have the right amount of overlap and they're clear and in focus. As long as you have those two things, you can use any app on the market to get the job done. It's whatever you're comfortable with or whatever's the most reliable for you in your workflow.
Yeah, and I know there's a lot of decisions in actually, you know, deciding whether it's free, whether somebody buys, whether it's inclusive on the actual device or the ship that you're flying. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the process stuff that we did today.
Sure. So these are the photos from outside. These have been taken with this with the DJI Pilot app. They're grid mission, 70% front overlap, 70% side overlap, at about 25 meters, which is about 75 feet. And so that is kind of low, and we fly low and slow. And there's a reason we did that, and we'll get into that in a moment.
Sure.
But first, what I want to show is, what you can see as I'm scrolling through my photos, is that you as the operator or the pilot can visually identify the overlap. You can see the way that the drone flew. And that's important because if you can just scroll through the photos like I just did and visually identify that overlap, you're gonna have no problem processing.
Sure.
So we're going to go
first
ahead.
we verify our
Yep.
data. We want to make sure that we've got, correct overlap, at least very simply, and then go ahead and get into our program and take a look.
So we're opening up Pix4Dreact, and now the software is just opening up. So a couple things, it's dark, right? It's got dark mode. Why? Because not only is it sleek, but also it reduces the strain on your eyeballs. And if you're looking at a darker screen, your eyes adjust faster to the general environment that you're in the moment. And also it reduces the amount of power that it's taking off the computer itself.
Sure.
And so
A
really,
couple of those little small things you guys thought of while developing this software.
we're really proud of this product because it's a product that I really do believe is going to do a lot of good out there. You know that hashtag drones for good?
Yep.
This fits right in.
That's perfect.
And so here it just gives you a warning message that the newest version of the software, 1.0.1, does support the processing of the RGB or real life color photos from the Enterprise 2 Dual. So you're going to press OK. And then we've already processed the data sets. These are examples of other data sets that were processed. I'm going to process this live for you right now. So we're going to press the plus on the bottom right-hand side of the screen.
Perfect.
Notice how it's a white button on a black background. High contrast, easier to see in a stressful situation. You press the plus. Then you simply go to Import Images. And then it opens up the folder where we have the images, and we're going to use Accident 2. So Control A to open all of the images. Press Open. At this point, you see all these blue dots that are on top of the base map. Each blue dot represents an image that the drone took. Here you can see the exact coordinate of that image, as well as the image file name. Now, something else that I will note is that Pix4Dreact is a desktop-based software. The only thing, there's two things you need the internet for. One, to load the base map that we're seeing underneath the screen here, and two, to log in and log out of the license.
Sure. Okay. So we now have basically a very quick GPS location of those images.
Precisely. And then all I did was I pressed Start Processing at the bottom left, and this is live. This is on this machine. It started at 323. It's about 30 images, which is a pretty small site, just here at the RMUS headquarters in Centerville, Utah.
Yeah.
And a really beautiful office, actually, John.
Actually, we do have a lot of great stuff here in Utah as far as the overall topography. We have mountainous terrain that we can test in. We have even marshland and whatnot we can test in. Hot desert areas. It's winter right now, so we have a lot of conditions. It's really great here in Utah to actually do a lot of drone testing. It makes it really great.
The other thing that's really cool is high altitude testing for the drones.
Absolutely.
If a drone can, go ahead.
4,600 feet is where we're at on the baseline of where RMUS sits, but we can get up into nearly 10,000 feet with very little travel to go. So yeah, a lot of high altitude testing that we do here.
If a drone works here, it's going to work almost anywhere. Isn't
Sure.
it?
Yeah. So watching this live, we're currently at 70% of the processing. So what is a lot of the stuff that's going on here? I mean, with CPU data, is there usage? Is it burn? How hard does this work in this computer?
It's not working it too hard, but we can see the fans started going because it's not a powerful computer. It's only got 12 gigs of RAM and an i5 that's 2.5 gigahertz, which basically means this machine's a couple years old.
Sure. A typical laptop of what most people are going to have.
Precisely.
Super powerful.
Yeah, they're not all techie guys like me that have fancy machines.
Yeah, Alienware or whatever.
Yeah, I have a lot of lights on mine.
Yep.
No, so what it's doing is the software is importing the images off the desktop. That's actually the slowest part of the whole algorithm. This is not pulling from the graphics card, so it doesn't need an aftermarket graphics card. It's just using the normal built-in one. It's loading all the images. It's going through a couple images and saying, hey, that's the exact same point on the ground in like 5 different photos. So let's just triangulate where that point exists. And essentially, like you're taking a lot of photos and cutting them up into small pieces and then gluing it all together in one large map, that's pretty much what it's doing here. But one thing that I do want to make clear is that this is not like the panorama photo that you're taking with a smartphone or an iPhone.
Sure.
Not at all. This is real photogrammetry, 3-axis photogrammetry. What that means is, that the software is actually removing distortion. So essentially it's like the camera on the drone works like the camera on your eyes. So you look at something and you see that it's far away, and if you get closer to it, you get closer to it and you get, you see it more zoomed in.
Sure.
By the way, this is almost done. 326, less than 3 minutes. The map is done on the desktop only.
Excellent.
But just to go back to what I was saying, what real photogrammetry means is it means that we're removing perspective or we're removing distortion, which means that your measurements are going to be accurate. The word photogrammetry literally means to measure from photographs.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's our accident, if you will.
Mock scene, of course.
Yeah, our mock scene. What I'm really overall impressed with is, again, just resolution, whatever height we shot this at actually looks pretty good.
Yeah,
But,
you
yeah.
can see tire mark there. We can see a wet spot in the concrete there. I think that's, the resolution is pretty good.
Yep.
So when you fly at about 75 feet, the pixel size on the ground is just going to be under half an inch, which means that each pixel itself is about half an inch by half an inch, or a little bit less than that in reality.
And so I did want to, kind of address this, but even on the right side, we can see a little bit of this not quite aligning. So in one case is people might freak out at something like that.
Yeah.
But a lot of this probably has to do with the less amount of images. We don't have very many images here.
It's also something that we kind of did on purpose, right?
Yep.
We flew at 75 feet. This is a 2-story building, which means that the distance from the drone to the ground is 75 feet. But the distance from the drone to the top of the building is probably only 40 feet.
Sure.
And so what happens is, you got to think we're taking overlapping photos. We're taking a photo so it overlaps 75% with the photo in front of it, the photo behind it, the photo to the left of it, right of it, etc. The issue is that when we decrease the distance from the drone to what we're looking at, and we shrink that, now we don't have a ton of photos of the top of the roof, and so it had less data to work with.
Yep.
So we actually went back outside and we flew it higher, and we'll show you in the other data set how nice the roof looks.
Much better, or even
better.
in other data sets that you have. So
Yeah.
So let's just take a look at one tool that you have on the side there, the measuring tool. So just to get an idea of accuracy here, we have the tape laid out.
Yep, so just know that this is not a survey grade tool. You can't import what's called ground control points. You can't, so you're just relying on the GPS of the drone itself.
And quick reference of even some of the underlying pixel data might not be like, oh my gosh, that's like an exact spot. But this is a measured 20 feet.
Yes.
We measured this 20 feet, that block right there.
And there it says 20.39 feet. I just did that live.
20.39.
Save as marker. Yellow tape, 20 feet. And we're showing that to you just to demonstrate that the power of the software plus the GPS on the drone, you're going to get pretty accurate results.
Sure.
Sometimes it's not going to be great. Sometimes it may be a couple inches off. But for the majority of use cases, this is going to be pretty tight. And you can always put a 20-foot metal tape down or a 50-foot metal tape down in the scene, something we call a reference measurement protocol, to just demonstrate the accuracy of the measurements.
Yeah. So in our accident here, how far basically have you passed out away from the car for an measurement? These are just like simple tools that we're talking about. What other kind of tools do you have?
Here to my head is about 4.38 feet. Driver's seat to passed out actor. Or let's say that this is being utilized for searching for something. You're doing an investigation, a police department's doing an investigation, they've mapped out a scene, near the crime scene, they're looking for additional evidence, and they're looking through the map and they zoom in and they see something of interest. For example, this glass bottle that's in my hand as I'm lying on the ground. Then they want to know exactly where that is. They can hit the GPS tag, they can hit the bottle, they can say save as marker, and now you have the exact GPS coordinate of that particular item.
Excellent.
Let's say, for example, a SWAT team is planning a tactical entry on a property and they want to know precisely how much distance their individuals need to run in order to make that mission successful. Or, for example, they want to know where to park their Bearcat and they say, hey, let's put it on this side of the building, and we zoom in. Then they can go to measure, they can say area, and they can measure the area to just adjacent to the building, and they can see, okay, how many
square feet do I have to work with right there?
Yeah. Right now it says it in acres. In future versions, we're going to make it so there's more units available.
Excellent.
So just know that. And so we have ability to make marks, ability to make lines. For example, let's say that you have mapped out a large zone where you're doing a search and rescue, and they want to have an understanding of, okay, team A is associated with zone A. So we go ahead and we just draw a line through the center of the actual map, and we say east zone A. So now we know that east of that line is zone A. Other applications that this can be utilized for: security for pre-planning, for example, for a town fair, or a lot of times the police departments, local police departments, are tasked with security for music festivals. That's been pretty popular in the last few years. So now you have an event where you have a large field or an area where they've set up temporary structures. So with a product like this, you can map it out. You have a real up-to-date map that gives the team situational awareness, but also allows them to go in and measure the exact distance from the edge of a fence to the entrance of a carnival ride.
It's actually a really good use case right there, especially with things that are ongoing, changing, to get even for security teams on something like that. Tents that have just recently gone up. What a great idea. Good use of the tool here. It's really neat.
Should we show them the swipe feature?
Sure.
So if you take your mouse to the bottom left-hand side of the screen, you have a swipe feature where you can go ahead and you can compare it to satellite base map, which was there before. So if I can swipe and I can see what the satellite base map looks like, and then I can swipe the other way and I can see exactly what our real map looks like.
What you actually took. Yep.
Precisely.
Yep.
And you're able to do that in two different forms, where you can have both maps side by side, or you can just swipe over the center of it itself. And so here you can see now, that's the resolution of the satellite imagery that is available as the base map, which is one of the only things you need the internet for on the software. And if you don't have the internet, you just don't have a base map.
Sure.
And there's our mock accident scene, or our mock collision, you could say.
Excellent.
And so that's kind of a lot of the features in the software itself. Pix4Dreact has been designed to be a simple tool so that you can do the work that you need to. And we built all these features pretty much off the, what folks out there in the industry told us. Hey, we want this tool, we want this, etc. And we built that in. Now I want to show something that I really like.
Yeah. So some of these other features that you were talking about, they're kind of exclusive to the actual React software. So let's take a look at those data sets in which you brought.
Yeah.
I
was going to show the PDF report of here.
Oh, let's do a PDF report. Yeah, sure.
So and then we'll switch over to the other data.
Yeah, for sure. So I got prematurely excited.
Yeah, we got excited.
All right. Let's see that PDF report here.
So a lot of times in the industry, and you know this, John, people struggle with, I have all this data, how do I share it? So we built a PDF report into this so that you can email it. So you press export, you go to PDF report, you say include markers, and then you say export. And now if I go just onto the desktop of this computer here, and I give it RMUS example, and I say save, it's going to export a PDF report. And just know, for the GIS folks out there, you can export the full resolution GeoTIFF, which is the full orthomosaic map file. That can go into any GIS software. But here we're exporting a PDF report, and I'm going to open it up. And I think that this is really special. I think this is something that is being utilized a lot by folks that use the software right now in the field. So here you have a PDF report that we've opened up. It has the Pix4Dreact logo on the top right, and potentially in a future version of the software, you'd be able to import your department logo. Then you have a north arrow and a scale bar on the map itself, and you can see the orthomosaic. Then we go to the next page, and you can see that here are the annotations that we made on the property or on that map itself, as well as a north arrow and a scale bar. And then if you scroll down to the next page, here we see all of our markers. So we see our yellow tape, and it says, length of 20 feet, etc. Here, I'll zoom in a bit just so that folks can see that better on the screen. So here's our yellow tape with the length. There's the length from driver's seat to passed out actor. This is the GPS coordinate of that bottle that we tagged in the map itself.
Excellent.
And here's the Bearcat with its area. And so essentially, imagine that a fire department is running an operation on a live scene, a wildland fire, or a more suburban fire, and you have multiple teams that are coming in. Individuals will arrive on site, fly the area, process the map, they can mark it up, they can email that out to incoming teams, and now everybody's looking at an up-to-date map in this PDF report on their mobile phones or on the laptop, that they're able to really simply look at this stuff.
Very good tool. Overall, a very good tool with all the annotations and everything else. Yeah, very good. Now we can get to your map, right?
Absolutely.
So some of the other data sets you've collected across the world, at least the United States,
Yeah, for sure.
that actually kind of, again, show a little bit more of those specialized things.
So I'm just going to go ahead and close this laptop, take the HDMI cord out, and plug mine back in. So now I have my computer, just because I have extra data sets from traveling around the country.
A lot of data sets that you have, but some of the particular ones that you were pretty, like I said, specialized on certain things that React does. So what are those things?
So React is not, Pix4D Mapper is that robust scientific tool, blah, blah, blah. Pix4D React, designed to make fast maps really fast.
Yeah.
But also, Pix4D React is special. It can map smoke and it can map water, which have been historically things that photogrammetry has done a very poor job at doing.
Or gets confused at least.
Yeah, or gets super confused,
confuses the algorithms inside.
So
you
here,
have here a great example of basically water.
yeah, look at
What
that.
it looks like.
So this is a man-made lake in Mesa, Arizona. This was flown with the Peridanofi. 21 megapixel sensor using the Pix4D Capture, our free flight application to fly that drone, do a grid mission. And I just want to highlight that you can see the rocks kind of under the surface of the water here. And then also, if I go to the edge of it, you can see the glint on the top of the water. And that's quite special. The Anafi has a great camera, but of course you could do this with the other drones as well. But just know that this software does have that capability to process smoke and process water. And now we'll go to a smoke data set. So I'm just going to go to my close map button on the top left-hand side. And you can see that I have a ton of data sets because I've been going around the country and showing this off to lots and lots of people. Actually, and here, where'd it go? There is my wildfire data set. This was so now we're looking at it and you can see that it's been marked up. I marked this up with a fire chief who was in charge of this training operation that we did at the Guardian Center in Perry, Georgia. And so it's kind of cluttered on the screen, right?
Right.
So if you take your mouse to the top left here and you just click one of the bottom of these three icons, it'll remove or hide those layers. And now we can zoom in into the training scenario, and I just want to zoom in on the fire itself. So you can see the fire burning on the bales. You can see the smoke coming off it, pushing it in the western, kind of southwest direction.
You can actually see it moving across the map as such.
Yeah.
And even though it may be considered, it's obviously there, the picture sees it, but it doesn't seem confused while trying to put the rest of it together.
Yeah, and just look at the detail on those tire treads. So this was captured with the X4S sensor, which is a Phantom 4 Pro. So this is collected with a Phantom 4 Pro.
Excellent.
And you can see the fire apparatus. We can go over here and see individuals, and you can tell that it was a little bit later in the day. No, actually early in the day based on the direction of the shadow and how long it is. And so this is a training center, which is why there's a disassembled airplane in the middle of a wildfire scene. But
basically showing that capability of direction of smoke, where all of that is going, seeing your actual fire line. Very, 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 again, important information for any incident commander.
Yep. And I think this is pretty special.
Yeah.
So it has a lot of application out there, and it's a really powerful tool, well priced, low cost, and designed to work.
Yeah.
Designed to do good.
So, Angad, again, kind of rolling us through this whole process, understanding how to take at least a huge benefit of something that was really created to be simple, easy, and fast. I mean, that's kind of the idea. Both from a data gathering process to putting it through the actual software to making annotations to then pushing out reports. It just, again, the whole thing seems very seamless as far as that goes. And I'm guessing that's like most of your customers are seeing this kind of experience overall.
Yeah, I think so, for the most part.
Yeah.
I think the product's been out about 3 months. We're really trying to get the information out there and help people understand that Pix4D React is a public safety specific software, and it's really easy to use.
That's excellent. So Hey, again, thanks for showing us how this works, rolling us through a lot of the settings, and as well as keeping in mind that a lot of our customers that are public safety can really take advantage of the Pix4Dreact software, and as well any of the other combinations of both ship, drone, all of that stuff together can be got from us here at RMUS. So thanks again for joining us, and thanks for being here today.
Yeah,
I really
for sure.
appreciate it.
What a pleasure to be here. Thanks, John.
You're welcome.